Every morning you awaken imprisoned by invisible chains, destructive patterns consuming precious years, while you convince yourself change begins tomorrow. Research from Harvard tracking 10,000 participants across 12 years revealed 92% remain ensnared in identical self-destructive cycles they vowed to escape a decade prior. Yet consider mastering one ancient Japanese framework that obliterates these chains permanently, crafted by an undefeated samurai who confronted mortality 60 times without surrender. Miyamoto Musashi's methodology doesn't merely eliminate habits, it reconstructs your essence into an instrument of unshakable resolve. However, understand this. The framework requires confronting the fearful reflection gazing back, or it destroys you before commencement. Most viewers will absorb this content, acknowledge understanding, and transform nothing. They accumulate wisdom like ornamental blades, aesthetically pleasing, never wielded in actual combat. The critical question becomes, are you among them, or have you prepared to sacrifice for genuine transformation? Strike that subscribe button and declare the single destructive pattern you're annihilating today. Together, we'll architect your legendary path. This transcends motivation. It constitutes warfare against your most inadequate self. Document your commitment. Materialize your intention. Allow the algorithm to record your dedication, because proclamations absent execution represent merely sounds from a perishing fighter. Meet Alex, 32, senior marketing executive in Chicago, investing 80-hour weeks while aspirations decompose in a cemetery of abandoned projects. Nightly you collapse into bed vowing to rise at 5 for writing that manuscript, attending the gym, ceasing endless scrolling. Yet the alarm sounds and you silence it, drowning beneath coffee and rationalizations. Your device glows with 4 hours of meaningless content. Your physique deteriorates under artificial lighting. Your finances hemorrhage on delivery meals because preparation demands excessive time. You've attempted every application, every month-long program, every trending solution, yet remain unchanged. Identical weight, identical debt, identical vacant expression reflected back. The cycle proves relentless. Commitment, failure, numbness, repetition. Monday arrives with warrior energy and novel productivity frameworks. Wednesday finds you bargaining with yourself. One episode multiplies to 4. Friday discovers you ordering midnight deliveries, observing lives you'll never inhabit. Sunday evening guilt crushes you, generating identical promises from last Sunday and precedent Sundays. You claim busyness, yet fundamentally comprehend truth. You're dependent on ease, terrified of discomfort required to manifest your destined self. Your capacity haunts you during silent intervals, murmuring about abandoned ventures, unbuilt physiques, unrealized identities. Alex, this represents your existence on default settings, and it's extinguishing your inner warrior. Every silenced alarm constitutes minor extinction. Every scroll represents capitulation. Every rationalization marks a memorial for terminated dreams. But consider, if methodology existed to cease negotiating with frailty and commence executing as though survival depends upon it. Because genuinely, it does. One rain-drenched evening, submerged in a second-hand bookstore, you discover a weathered edition of the Book of Five Rings. Miyamoto Musashi emerges, 17th century masterless samurai, undefeated across 61 duels, artist, craftsman, philosopher. Yet here's the concealed truth. Musashi wasn't born legendary. He was an orphan street combatant who forged himself through isolated suffering. At 13, he killed an adversary in singular combat. Not cinematically, not metaphorically. He terminated existence while contemporary adolescents struggle with challenging conversations. By 29, he'd encountered mortality so frequently he documented, the warrior's way is resolute death acceptance. He didn't broadcast on social platforms. He didn't await inspiration. He appeared when appearance potentially meant perishing. Within those pages, he doesn't instruct sword techniques. He reveals systematic weakness elimination by transforming every habit into a duel requiring victory. Every morning you select, execute or surrender. Every craving becomes an opponent drawing weapons. Every excuse becomes a blade targeting your existence. Musashi understood what contemporary self-improvement never articulates. Transformation isn't about pleasant feelings. It's about becoming unbreakable through controlled aggression against your inadequacies. You sense the pages scorching your hands. For the first time, a master addresses your inner coward directly, demanding you raise the blade or perish averagely. Not physical death, spiritual death, becoming among the animated corpses shuffling through existence, accumulating regrets instead of triumphs. Musashi offers zero sympathy, zero gentle direction, zero self-compassion platitudes. Simply a straightforward challenge. Will you confront yourself with identical intensity he confronted armed adversaries? Or continue pretending tomorrow magically transforms everything? Musashi directs, obey before comprehension arrives. Stage 1 represents ego annihilation through merciless repetition. You select one destructive pattern, endless scrolling, and substitute with one disciplined behavior. 100 push-ups every morning, 0 exceptions. Not when motivation strikes, not when schedules permit. The instant your feet contact the floor. Tokyo University research on motor cortex adaptation from 2021 demonstrates requiring 300 to 1,000 deliberate repetitions to overwrite neural architecture. Your brain operates wired for scrolling, for comfort, for dopamine surges from inactivity. That circuitry required years constructing. You won't social media story your escape. You don't contemplate. You don't negotiate. You descend and deliver 100 the instant your feet contact the floor. Day 1 feels magnificent. Day 2 your chest protests. Day 3 your arms scream, your consciousness pleads for the device, manufacturing brilliant justifications why today merits exception. You obey regardless. Day 7 you despise Musashi, despise this framework, despise the burning across your shoulders. But you persist. Day 10 something transforms, the device loses gravitational attraction. Day 14 the repetitions feel mechanical, your body mobilizing before consciousness can object. Day 21 you realize 3 weeks passed without checking your device initially, without contaminating your morning with curated existences. But here's the concealed truth. Obedience isn't weakness. It's the furnace melting your rationalizations into steel. Every inspirational speaker instructs finding your purpose and visualizing triumph. Musashi says silence yourself and complete the repetitions. Your purpose doesn't matter when the sword threatens your throat. Your visualization proves worthless if your body won't mobilize. You no longer negotiate with the pattern. You execute it like a death sentence. The obsolete neural pathway receives death sentencing, and you become the executioner appearing every morning to fulfill the sentence. No judge, no jury, no appeals. Simply you, the floor, and 100 repetitions of selecting who you'll become. Master the drill, or the drill masters you. 99% abandoned here, imprisoned as perpetual students. They read Musashi, share quotations, purchase swords, yet never swing. The contemporary deception whispers, accumulate additional knowledge, then act. You consume podcasts, hoard programs, curate aesthetic inspiration boards, anything except the repetitions. You convince yourself you're preparing, that you require deeper philosophical understanding, that you should research the optimal morning protocol before starting. Meanwhile, weeks elapse, months elapse. Your shopping cart fills with disciplined literature while your discipline deteriorates. You follow fitness personalities while your body decays. You preserve motivational content to playlists you'll never revisit. Musashi caution, the teacher is a needle, the disciple a thread. Without threading the needle through your flesh, you remain decorative, not lethal. The needle must penetrate. The thread must bleed. Pain isn't a byproduct of the process, it is the process. But you continue circling, examining the needle from every perspective, reading about threading methodologies, watching instructional content, never actually pushing it through your skin. But here's what nobody articulates. Information without incarnation is self-betrayal. Every podcast you complete without acting is a deception you tell yourself. Every program you finish without implementation is a memorial for capacity. You are not a student of the way, you are the way, or you are nothing. Musashi didn't become undefeated by studying swordsmanship. He became undefeated by appearing to 61 duels. How many duels have you appeared to this month? Now you serve duel masters, Musashi in your selected habit. Stage 2 introduces the contradiction protocol. You don't avoid the trigger, you weaponize it. You scroll, you immediately complete 20 burpees. You crave sugar, you consume water and journal the craving for 60 seconds, describing its texture, its desperation, its deceptions. Contradictions collide. Comfort versus pain, distraction versus presence, the easy path versus the path that constructs you into someone formidable. Harvard neuroplasticity research from 2019, scanning 200 monks revealed that deliberate contradiction exposure triples prefrontal cortex density in 21 days. Your brain literally grows stronger regions responsible for self-control, decision-making, and emotional regulation. You aren't suppressing the habit, you're inviting it to the training hall and defeating it in open combat. The craving comes. Excellent. Descend for burpees. The urge to scroll hits during lunch. Perfect. Close the device, open the journal, describe the sensation without judgment. Tingling in fingers, restlessness in chest, mind offering bargains, just 5 minutes, just one quick check. Musashi writes in Strategy, perceive universal principles through the one thing. The one thing is controlled breaking. You break the habit by breaking yourself against it until only truth remains. You're not building willpower, you're building a new identity. The old you negotiated with cravings. The new you uses cravings as training opportunities. Week 3, something remarkable happens. The craving arrives, and before your conscious mind registers it, your body is already moving into burpees. The neural pathway from trigger to response has been rewired. The habit tried to pull you into scrolling. Instead, it pushed you into strength. Week 5, the cravings weaken. Not gone, but quieter, less demanding, like an opponent who's learned you always strike back. Your prefrontal cortex, strengthened by thousands of micro-decisions to choose pain over comfort, now dominates the limbic system's childish demands for instant gratification. You emerge lighter, sharper, dangerous. Coworkers notice something changed but can't name it. You move differently, speak differently. The desperation is gone. You've stopped seeking, you've become. And the habit, it's still there lurking, but now it's the one that's afraid. Formless response. The habit attacks unpredictably. 3 a.m. craving, layoff, stress, breakup, grief. Life doesn't care about your morning routine. It swings at you from blind sides, tests you when you're weakest, strikes when you think you've won. You no longer react with applications or willpower. You flow like water around the blade. 3 opponents strike at once. Your superior dumps a Friday 5 p.m. deadline that ruins your weekend. Your former partner texts after 3 months of silence, reopening wounds. The refrigerator glows at midnight, promising comfort through frozen dessert and cold pizza. Old you would collapse into streaming and ice cream, maybe add some whiskey, definitely wake up tomorrow with regret layered on hangover. Old you would call it self-care while actually practicing self-destruction. Old you would post about mental health while actively destroying mental health. New you breathes. 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 8 seconds out, dropping into the parasympathetic nervous system. You journal the trigger in 30 seconds. Superior disrespects boundaries, former partner manipulates, sugar calls, all 3 want me weak. Then you execute the replacement ritual without thought. 50 push-ups, cold shower, meal prep for tomorrow, device in another room. 2023 Oxford field study tracked 500 executives. Those who reached formless response cut relapse rates by 87%. The difference? They stopped thinking about discipline and started embodying it. Muscle memory replaced mental negotiation. Their bodies knew what to do before their minds could sabotage them. Musashi faced 60 men who wanted him dead. You face cravings that want you mediocre. Each one is an assassin hired by your past self to kill your future. Each one promises that surrender is sweeter than victory. Each one lies. You win, not through force but through form, not through grinding but through flowing. The habit throws its best punch, deadline, breakup text, craving, and you're already moving, already responding, already 3 steps ahead. The habit lies broken at your feet and you step over it without looking back. Tomorrow it will rise again. So will you. That's the dance. That's mastery. Your presence now intimidates people. Coworkers flinch when you enter a room. No device, no small talk, just calm lethality. You don't check notifications during meetings. You don't laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You don't pretend to care about topics that waste everyone's time. Your attention is a spotlight, and most people have learned to live in shadows. Friends joke you're intense, but their eyes betray envy and fear.
They watch you order water while they order their third beer. They see you leave the gathering early while they stay late, accomplishing nothing. They notice your body changing, your bank account growing, your side project launching, and it forces them to confront the gap between their words and their actions. Your energy demands they confront their own mediocrity. Just by existing in your discipline, you become a mirror reflecting their excuses back at them. They claim they'd work out if they had time, but you have the same 24 hours. They say they'd start a business if they had money, but you started with less. They explain why their situation is different, special, more complicated, but you just show up and execute. Musashi wrote, "When you face an enemy, make him see his death." Your discipline is that enemy to their excuses. But here's what nobody articulates. Discomfort is proof you're on the path. Their resistance confirms you're becoming dangerous. Let them run. You walk with ghosts of legends. This isn't just habits, it's mastery of life itself. The system scales to anything you're weak at, anything you've been avoiding, anything you know would transform you if you actually did it. Guitar. Replace 30 minutes of video platform tabs with 300 deliberate repetitions of one chord transition. Not the fun part, the hard part, the part that makes your fingers ache and your ego scream. That's where skill lives, in the valley of repetition that everyone wants to skip. Code. Swap solution searches with 1,000 lines written from memory. Stop searching syntax every 2 minutes. Burn the patterns into your brain through the only fire that works. Repetition until it hurts, then repetition after it stops hurting. Business. Trade networking events for 100 cold emails drafted in flow state. Stop hiding behind building relationships when you're really avoiding rejection. Face the rejection. Let it sharpen you. Musashi didn't make friends with his opponents. He defeated them, then learned from the encounter. Sales. Replace 1 hour of research with 50 cold calls made without script, without safety net, just you and the fear and the phone. Writing. Swap editing old work with 2,000 new words written without backspacing, without perfectionism, just raw output that you'll refine later. Musashi's system scales. Pick the weakness, obey the repetition, break with contradiction, respond formless. The training hall is everywhere. Your bedroom is a training hall. Your kitchen is a training hall. Your inbox is a training hall. Every moment is training or surrender. Look in the mirror, coward. You will fail tomorrow. You will bargain, justify, collapse. That is guaranteed. What is not guaranteed is whether you rise after the 47th failure with the same fire as the first. You'll wake up and negotiate. You'll say today is different because you slept poorly, because it's raining, because it's Monday, because it's Friday, because Mercury is in retrograde or some other astrological excuse. You'll find brilliantly creative reasons why this one time doesn't count, why you deserve a break, why being kind to yourself means letting yourself off the hook. Musashi lost his parents, his name, his home, yet never himself. He wandered Japan as a homeless masterless samurai, challenged to duels by people who wanted to make their reputation by killing him. He lived in caves. He painted with dirt. He wrote his masterpiece in a cave weeks before dying, alone, undefeated, legendary. You have wireless internet and still complain. You have running water, electricity, grocery stores, heated homes, and you can't complete 100 push-ups because you're tired. You live in more luxury than emperors of old, with more opportunity than 99% of humans who ever lived, and you spend it scrolling through strangers' vacation photos. There are no shortcuts, no biological optimization hacks, no one weird trick. Only the blade, the repetitions, and the grave waiting for quitters. You want to eliminate destructive patterns. Then eliminate the part of you that negotiates with weakness. Burn it. Scatter the ashes. Conduct a funeral for the person who makes excuses. Or admit you love your chains more than your freedom. Admit comfort is your God. Admit you'd rather die slow than live dangerously. That's fine, just stop lying about it. Stop pretending you'll change tomorrow when you won't even change today. Musashi died undefeated. His writings studied 400 years later. He created art that hangs in museums. He wrote books that guide warriors across centuries. He became immortal not through comfort, but through relentless confrontation with his own weakness. Your legacy begins today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not January 1st. Today, with whatever time remains in this day, with whatever strength remains in your body. Oxford longitudinal study from 2024 tracking 1,200 habit breakers over 5 years proved one system cuts relapse 91%. Name the habit you will execute, specific, measurable. Not get healthy but 100 push-ups immediately upon waking. Not be more productive but write 500 words before checking email. Choose one replacement action, 100 repetitions minimum. The action must be uncomfortable. If it's easy, it won't rewire you. The resistance is the medicine. Obey instantly for 21 days. No negotiation. No thinking. No deciding. No weighing pros and cons. Feet hit floor. Push-ups begin. That's the algorithm. Invite contradiction. Trigger plus ritual every time. Craving hits. Replacement activates. Make the craving your alarm clock for discipline. Train your brain that pain follows seeking comfort. Journal nightly. What broke, what held. 3 sentences. Where did I almost fail? Where did I stay strong? What will I do differently tomorrow? No essays. No therapy. Just data. Test weekly. Simulate chaos. Respond formless. Friday night. Friends call for drinks. Superior dumps weekend work. Relationship stress hits. How do you respond? The test isn't pass or fail, it's information about where you're still weak. Print this. Mount it above your bed. Tomorrow you duel, and the day after, and the day after, until dueling becomes breathing, until discipline becomes identity, until you are undefeated. Comment your first destructive pattern you're eliminating and the replacement action you're obeying tomorrow. Declare it publicly. Let Musashi witness your vow. Not a wish, not a goal, a war declaration against the weakest version of yourself. Write it where everyone can see. Because private promises die in darkness, but public vows create accountability that burns.